Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher.
Buffalo soldier, tread like a rasta. There was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America, stolen from Africa.
Tonight, we are delving into a very special moment in history, paying homage to our fallen heroes and spotlighting a big event coming up this weekend that everyone is invited to. It's a sit down with members of the Buffalo Soldiers of Maryland Foundation. No longer riding on real horses, they ride two-wheel iron horses and dedicated to preserving and promoting the rich history and contributions of the Buffalo Soldiers. My guests tonight are members of the Buffalo Soldiers Maryland Foundation Incorporated, Chairman Lonnie Signal Bellamy, co-founder Mason Money Monroe, Buffalo Thunder 2025 co-chairman Sam Simba Watkins, and outreach coordinator Alan G-Man Herring. Guys, thank you so very much for joining this conversation. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation with you.
No, thank you, Harold. We are absolutely excited to be here this evening.
Well, let me start with just a few fast facts about the Buffalo Soldiers, and we're going to go even deeper into some of the history and culture of that. They were established by the U.S. Army in 1866. Following the Civil War, that term Buffalo Soldier was originally coined by Native American tribes who used it to describe the African American cavalry soldiers due to their curly hair, which of course resembled the fur of a buffalo. And they played a crucial role in the westward expansion of the United States. The Buffalo Soldiers were also instrumental in laying the groundwork for future generations of African Americans in the military. I do want to talk about the significance of the organization today, particularly at a time when so much Black history is either being whitewashed, banned, or simply lost. Mason, I'll let you take a first shot at that question.
Yes, we are happy to, talk about the Buffalo Soldiers and what we stand for today and the history that it represents. We do ride in honor of the Buffalo Soldiers of the 9th and 10th Cavalry, and we formed so that we could educate the community on the Buffalo Soldiers because, as you said, Harold, it is being lost. So we will go into schools and we will educate children, or we will educate anyone that is asking, what does the Buffalo Soldiers stand for and what does it mean? Even when we are riding, we encounter people that will ask us, what are the Buffalo Soldiers and what do you guys stand for? So we do encourage that and ride and promote the education of the Buffalo Soldiers history.
Sam, you had a very interesting military service. And so when you look at, the kind of information that we are seeing that seems to be, disappearing, whether it's, history, the incredible contributions that the Buffalo Soldiers have made to America, what kind of comes to mind?
Well, hey, Harold, I'll tell you, first, thank you for opening us up and sharing on the Buffalo Soldiers. And I answered that question, but first I'd like to add something to the naming of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Sure, go ahead.
As you were spot on, as you mentioned, the Native American tribes, based on the appearance. They had not seen that dark-skinned soldier with that curly hair. But one of the things that they also commented on was the tenacious fighting spirit of that Black soldier. Those soldiers, they served so admirably, starting off with some of the worst equipment, horses that were in bad shape, weaponry that was in bad shape, but they were able to take with the equipment they had and then with the training they had and with their desire to win, because they knew failure as a service member, as a soldier, was not an option. They fought tenaciously. When other organizations had high desertion rates, they had near zero desertion rates. So they wanted to serve. There were so few opportunities for the Black man at that time in this immediate post-slavery era, that they wanted to serve. They wanted to prove that they had the ability to fight, the ability to serve, and to win. And so I will tell you, as I served for nearly 30 years in uniform in the Army and in joint units with airmen, Coast Guardmen, Marines, you name it, sailors, I saw that same spirit, that teamwork, that camaraderie come across with not just the Black soldiers, but we were able to bond with, regardless of race, creed, or color. We took that serious, our opportunity to serve and be a part of that brotherhood, that sisterhood. And that's something that drew me to the Buffalo Soldiers organization. As a service member, you really enjoy that camaraderie, that teamwork, spirit, that adrenaline rush. And so now, instead of getting that from jumping out of airplanes, I do that riding my motorcycle safely. and I enjoy the camaraderie, because we still serve as Buffalo Soldiers now in the motorcycle club and in our foundation, to help others, to help pay it forward. And so it's just an awesome area to be, an awesome place to be. And I felt that during my military service, and now I have that same pride with the camaraderie with my fellow Buffalo Soldiers in the foundation and motorcycle club.
Lonnie, you also served in the Army. For those who may be familiar, you also did the jumping out of planes and jumping out of helicopters and the like, air assault, airborne, etc. But why did you decide to become a member of the Buffalo Soldiers?
For me, it was that call to history. The brave men that served back post Civil War. They went through it. They absolutely went through it. Think about it. You finished up the Civil War, and you at this point in time where Blacks did not have, right, although we were quote unquote free, didn't have jobs, didn't own land, did not have much, and serving the nation. Oh, by the way, a nation that kept us under a heel. Serving that nation through military service was a great opportunity. And not only did they served with honor, they served with courage, they served with service. Things that resonated very much through my military service, but also the service that we continue to do through the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club and Foundation. At that point in time, $13 a month is what they were being paid, these brave men. $13. They were given food, giving housing. So a lot of times they lived better, even though they were still oppressed. It wasn't like that they were in the military expanding the Western frontier and everybody was glad to see them. No, that's not what it was at all. It was under some, like Brother Simba says, just incredibly difficult oppression. And oh, by the way, they were doing it to people that were also oppressed, which is the Native Americans. So there's a lot of story there. And so when I say the history, there's a lot of clubs out there, and respect to all of them. Every one of the MCs out in the area have a role and responsibility. But for the Buffalo Soldiers, especially the Buffalo Soldiers Maryland chapter, it's that rich history, the rich history of the 9th, the 10th, the 24th, the 25th, those original units that were formed that allowed Black service members to contribute not only to their freedom, continued freedom, but also expansion of this country.
Alan, you guys have a lot of stuff coming up for the Memorial Day weekend, a lot of activities. Kind of give me a rundown, because as I said in the beginning, these are public events. These are open to everyone. So what are you doing this weekend?
So this weekend, it's going to be, we're looking for a grand time. We got a three-day event. We start Friday. Technically, we start tonight, because we have folk that are coming in this evening in support of tomorrow, when we have our our meet and greet. Usually it's different chapters that are come in. It's a time when they're arriving, and it's just a grand time with fellowship. We'll have dinner. We'll have different we have the registrations going on. We'll also have opportunities for folk to just see the different areas in the city that the city has to offer with regards to the African American Museum, with regards to where the venue is going to be Saturday, with the VFW post that will be hosting us. And so that's going to be post number 8950 in Lanham. And so just a grand time we're looking forward to. Then that evening, well, let me go back to the afternoon, we'll have a cookout, which will have vendors. We'll have a bike show. We'll have a sound competition. And then the lodge itself will be open to take on a lot of visitors and just have a grand time. We'll also have different events going on for the children, for family, because it is a family event after all. And so once we finish that, then most of us will transition into the evening, which we will have a white party that will start at 8:00 in the VFW. And so that is going to be our showcase. We're looking forward to it. Last year we had a great time. And so we're looking forward to just being able to support and just being able to fellowship at that time. And then we'll follow it up on Sunday. Sunday, we'll have our Felipe Fields Memorial Ride, which will kick off at, we'll start staging at about 7 a.m. out at Jericho City of Praise in Landover.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have that ride escorted into D.C., and we'll culminate at the African American Civil War Museum or Memorial, where we'll have our ceremony and we'll have our scholarship presentation.
Oh, wow. Talk to me about the scholarship thing. I mean, that is such a big deal.
It is, and that I'll let Money or Signal.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in and talk about the scholarship. When we first started this, we started out very small. The Buffalo Soldiers Club itself, the motorcycle club, was actually giving money to students out of their pockets to help fund our scholarship. So we started out with a mere $500 scholarship, to one person. But we formed this entity called the Buffalo Soldiers of Maryland Foundation in 2015 as a philanthropic entity that focuses purely on the welfare and helping others. So through that, we're able, with our sponsors and donors, we're able to fund scholarships. So since 2015, we have funded up until 2024 and more this year. We're giving away more than $40,000 in scholarships to deserving high school students, graduating high school students that are attending four-year institutions or attending a trade school. It doesn't matter. We also continue to help those students that remain in school. So if they need help, we help you get in school. But once you get in school, if you need help staying in school, we will also provide you help to stay in school. So the scholarship money continues. It's not just a one-time thing. It will continue through your four-year academic career. And we are so very proud of that. We began with awarding 1 scholarships, and we have awarded as many as 14, 15 scholarships in one given time. So we are very, very proud of that scholarship award that we're able to do on an annual basis.
I've got to get ready to take a break before we begin to really take a deeper dive into not only the history, but where we are now with the Buffalo Soldiers and the things that you guys are doing. But real quick, is there a website that you can share with me real quick about this weekend's activities?
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Our website, if they want to register for the event or just make a donation if they can't come, will be buffalo-thunder.com. And so if they hit that website, they'll see information about each event, information about our organization, and also be able to make a donation if they're unable to register and attend any of the events.
So buffalo-thunder.com.
Yes.
Buffalo-thunder. Thank you all so much. Stay with us. We are going to take a quick break, and don't forget you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The Original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds.
Buffalo soldier, dreadlock rasta. It was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America, stolen from Africa, brought to America.
Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about preserving and promoting the rich history and contributions of the Buffalo Soldiers. My guests are members of the Buffalo Soldiers Maryland Foundation Incorporated. Chairman Lonnie Signal Bellamy is here. Also co-founder Mason Money Monroe, Buffalo Thunder 2025 co-chairman Sam Simba Watkins, and outreach coordinator Alan G-Man Herring. Before the break, we were talking about the events of the weekend. Sam, I do want to go back to you. Let's talk a little bit about Buffalo Thunder. Why is it called Buffalo Thunder?
Well, I'll share with you, Harold, a little bit from the very beginning. It's been about 20 years now. Buffalo Thunder came about as a desire to recognize and promote what the Black soldiers had done and were still doing to serve the United States. So many of our soldiers in the Maryland chapter and other chapters from across the United States would come to Washington, D.C. to participate in an event known as Rolling Thunder, which started about noon or 2 in the afternoon from the Pentagon to the Vietnam Memorial Wall. And so we realized that we weren't really capturing the history of the Black soldiers and honoring what they had done. So Buffalo Thunder actually came to expand an opportunity to recognize those soldiers, and also became an opportunity where, as we mentioned before, for fellowship and for fun and for those who love to ride. And strangely, the first master ceremony at our ceremony at the African American Civil War Monument was also from the media industry. It happened to be a brother by the name of Jim Vance. He was our very first master of ceremony, and this Buffalo Thunder has taken place at that location ever since that time frame. And so we're really proud of what it's done. This year, our theme, we're calling it Unity in the Community. And so what we're really asking folks to do is come out, bring a friend, have a good time, support a good cause, or come out and meet a new friend. Because it's all about unity. As we mentioned, we see history being erased or whitewashed. And so we're going to be sharing a lot about our history. We're going to have a lot of camaraderie and fellowship. And again, the donations, of course, are going to support all of the philanthropic efforts and community service work that we do, most notably our scholarships, which will be awarded on Sunday at the African American Civil War Monument.
I did want to make sure that I asked Alan this as well. Why did you decide to join the Buffalo Soldiers, Alan?
For me, it was an easy decision. Having had the opportunity to experience motorcycle club with another club, I wanted to find two things: one, the love of motorcycling, and two, the love of giving back to the community. And so there was a friend of mine who actually was the, I guess, soon to be president, who introduced me to Simba at the time. And it was also during the time we were just coming out of COVID. And so Sam had told me that they weren't taking members yet, but to hold on. And that time went pretty quick. And so the application was submitted, and I started my journey to become a Buffalo soldier. And so it was about the community giving, and that's what meant a lot to me. Giving back. Is we experienced a lot of different things during the month. If you don't mind, I'd like to share that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
We actually once a month, the fourth Sunday, we do Feed the Needy, where our members volunteer their time for on the fourth Sunday. We have two sections. We have a section that comes in at 6 a.m. And they do the food prep and cooking. Then we have the second section that comes in at 8 a.m. that does the putting the food together in the trays and serving. We also provide support by way of giving donations like clothing, shoes, hygiene products, and the like. The other thing we do is a groceries distribution, which with a local church. Both of these events are with local churches, where we partner with the church's ministries, and we assist those ministries with giving prepackaged groceries to the community. Which it's the need is real. The need is real.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
next thing, one of the other things we do is the holiday charitable support, which was instrumental at that time when I wanted to join, because I found out how the chapter was supporting the community by way of during the holidays for Thanksgiving with the turkey drives, and then during the Christmas holidays with the Helping Hands, which was different because the Helping Hands is where we would give gift cards to the single family heads of households, and that was instrumental, especially with in the community where families are headed by most of the time is by the mothers. But recently, now we've started supporting both male dads, if I can say, as far as them being able to provide gifts or whatever the need is for the family.
Yeah.
We also have the back to school, where we support local organizations with their back to school initiatives by way of backpack and school supply distributions at events throughout the community, and then followed up by our Adopt a Highway.
Let me, if I may, and it's the list of commitments that you are obviously making is very long and much needed in the community. But I wanted to ask Lonnie about this, because one of the other things that may be more important than the financial support, whether it's scholarships or anything else, is your interaction with young people, particularly young Black men, boys, specifically boys. This is obviously sorely needed. What has been your experience, and obviously not just Lonnie, but I'll start with him, in when you all go into schools or when you interact with boys and they see your vest, your regalia, the hat, and what is that like?
It's absolutely awesome. We when we go into the schools, especially, we're sharing the history, and it's coming from a lot of times places where we've been, such as in the military. So we can share with them a perspective that they may not have heard before. Within our organization, we've got everything from attorneys to business people to law enforcement to obviously veterans who have served. We bring a level of professionalism within the community that I think young boys especially absolutely need to see. And what part of how we're able to penetrate, if I can, is what we ride. We get a lot of questions that open that, when you hear that Harley roll up or you see that Gold Wing pull in, when some of them are decked out, some of them sound amazing, it pulls a lot of young people in. And before, they may have had a little hesitation based on, some of the things you hear about motorcycle clubs. But for us, no, it's absolutely about the mentorship. It's absolutely about sharing. How do we get to be in some of the, awesome places we've been professionally, personally, and sharing those stories. And here's a real kicker. When it very much ties to some of the experiences and some of the hardships those men faced early on in the founding of the country. They knew what struggle was. And when you share those stories of people like Charles Young, who was the third graduate of West Point, United States Military Academy at West
Mhm.
Point, went from being basically a slave, if not definitely a child of a slave, to a brigadier general at a time when that was unheard of, moved even farther to be the first Black superintendent of the National Park Service. This brother, if I may call him that, right, rode his horse 500 miles because he was being forced to retire above the age of 50, right? I'm over 50, right? And I just got through riding my horse. It was more than 500 miles, but I can relate. I know what that's like. I still got pains today, excuse me. So there's some relatability there that I think very much resonates in the young folks, especially African American male, but not just them, because there were females, there were women that also contributed very much so to the founding and expansion of the country. And their stories need to be told as well. I'll pass it on.
Yeah, Mason, you were nodding your head when Lonnie was speaking. Your thoughts about the interaction with young people.
I absolutely agree. When I have entered schools to talk about the Buffalo Soldiers' history and to mentor young people, that's a passion of mine, to mentor especially young Black males. When you enter into there and you're wearing your vest and you're wearing your colors and your cuts, there's a persona about motorcycle clubs that I will say, excel. There's a stigma attached to them, and as Lonnie said, we are professional men. All of the men in our club are professional men. So when we approach them and let them know about the motorcycle club, as Lonnie has talked about, and then we can tell them what it is that we do professionally. Not only ride motorcycles, but if you saw me in a professional world, you would never think that I rode a motorcycle. You see, so but when you're able to transform that and say that you're able to wear this motorcycle, ride this motorcycle, and then be a professional in that and pass that on to young people, I think that helps them a lot, because a lot of them are struggling. And we can relate to the struggle, as Lonnie said, through the history of the Buffalo Soldiers or through our own personal history. I didn't start out where I am, but there's some struggles that I have coming up through putting myself through college, doing things that I needed to do to better myself. And I share all of that with them and let them know where you started is not where you have to end. You can help yourself and grow. So that's my passion of helping young Black men to see, you can excel. Yeah. There are no limitations. If you dream of it, keep your dream alive and work for it no matter what. Don't give up.
Sam, your thoughts about the young people?
Wow, Harold, I'll tell you, I think we've been instrumental with the work we do in helping young people. Many of us do it with our motorcycle organization, as well as with our churches or some in our day jobs. But I think it's critical, and I think it's even more important now, the era that we're in, where we're starting to see a lot of divisiveness, where folks think maybe that we don't belong. When we see programs being dismantled, programs that were designed to ensure equal footing, maybe for those who maybe come from a disadvantaged background or maybe in a minority type population. As those programs start to erode and go away, something has to fill the void. Someone has to be out there to encourage our youth to continue to be educated, to continue to thrive and excel. And I think we do that well in our organization. I'll just share with you one of the things that we've done here in the past few years that was very, very touching to a family. We were contacted through Alan, had a contact for a terminally ill young man, and he loved motorcycles, and they didn't expect him to see another birthday. And so they called and said, hey, can you get a few guys to come out on motorcycles, just so he can see some motorcycles? We want to have a little celebration with him. We had our entire organization of over 30 motorcycles, plus others of our friends in the community that wanted to ride with us. And we went down to Charles County to help celebrate this young man and let him see and touch motorcycles and help fulfill some of his wishes and dreams, so to say. And so, even though it may seem like that's not much, but in touching that young man and in showing that we care, that we want to be there to support our community, folks were watching, folks were looking, and they said, "Wow, you guys are Buffalo Soldiers, and you're really trying to do good in the community." I'll share just another story. This one goes with some of our giving. As G-Man mentioned, we partner with some of the local churches and go out and give helping hands during the Christmas holiday. Well, there happened to be a young mother who had a hardship, had lost her husband, and she was, going through a rough time. And so we just wanted to give a little to help. So we did just that. We went through our pockets as our part of our Helping Home programs, and we helped many, many families that year. Lo and behold, Harold, a year later, we're back at that organization to give again. And the pastor calls our chairperson forward and says, "Hey, I know I'm not supposed to call names out, but someone you all helped last year came and gave back threefold." Her children were now in a nice school environment. She had gotten her footing back, and she said, "I want to help you help more families." And so we believe that the work that we do is not just, doesn't get us a pat on the back, or we're not doing it because we want some accolades. We're doing it because we truly want to help our community, young men, young women, families that may have a need. And it all comes back, and then we're able to help even more. So we don't believe in that as part of our organization. We go through a pretty stringent process to become a Buffalo Soldier. Some have tried and didn't make the mark.
So that was a question I was going to ask Alan about, because when he was talking about it a few minutes ago, he was talking about his entrance. So I mean, don't give away any trade secrets, but if somebody wanted to become, a Buffalo Soldier, do you have to own a motorcycle first, or what's give me the rundown, Alan?
So the short answer is yes, and I believe that you have to the motorcycle you have has to be more than 750 cc's or something like that. Yeah. But I think that needs to be changed anyway. But in any event,
all in favor? No, go ahead. Go ahead, Alan.
If you want to keep up, it better be something.
Right. Yeah, you show up on a 750, you're gonna be in the backpack.
but it's the process itself. In the beginning, because you don't know what you don't know, if I can use that phrase, it can seem daunting and even to a degree intimidating, because you're going to hear different things, you're going to see different things from your seasoned chapter members as well as just your regular because we have retired members as well that we still interact with to today. And so when you're looking and you're figuring out the process, and then you're told that you need to know the history, and you're assigned a member who's your mentee or mentor, for that process. And so you're going through the history, and then you're actually really kind of spun up on, okay, I need to learn this, I need to learn this. Oh, but then also need to learn motorcycle etiquette. I need to know, the inspections and all that kind of thing that go along with it. Oh, and by the way, while you're trying to decide whether or not you want to become a member, you also need to make sure that your skills are where they need to be, because you get there are rides, there are events and things that you'll go to, and the different like for myself to have gone to where did I go with you guys? Down Southern Maryland. It was if I remember, it was now it's called a full patch ride, but I think it also invited other people to come and break bread is what it was. We went to a restaurant in Tappahannock, and so it was an opportunity to just sit and talk and fellowship with not just Buffalo Soldier members, but different members of the motorcycle set. And so once you get past that, and it's like, okay, yes, I do want to do this, or no, I don't. For me, yes, I do, because I was sold just for the mere fact that everything that I had heard, I actually went on the website and reviewed, and I was sold just for the mere fact, as I stated earlier, about the charity piece, the giving back to the community, which is missed nowadays. And so the history, it came easy. It came easy and easier, I should say. But more importantly, it was the love of motorcycling and the fellowship and just the camaraderie that came along with it.
Yeah, and the other issue I was going to address, and this is definitely a much more broader issue, because this is a Memorial Day weekend. You guys are doing a lot of activities beyond just the parties and the cookout. I mean, there's some serious consideration, but for most Americans, Alan, Memorial Day is just cookouts, barbecues, the unofficial beginning of summer, but the real reason honoring veterans for a large part of the community seems to have been lost.
And you're right. It's the big picture is remembering the fallen, is remembering the ultimate sacrifices that have happened. I think we all can relate to someone who's served and has passed on. But you're right. This is a time where we should be reflecting and honoring those who have gone before us and fallen before us. There's the celebration, there's the fellowship, but then there's also the memorial, and that's the thing that the Buffalo Soldiers, we embrace that because we are all, well, most of us are veterans or some form of serving. And so we all recognize that, male, female. It can be daunting, but the whole piece for this weekend it's not just a celebratory piece. It's also the memorial piece, as we'll experience on Sunday. And so it's a time where we have a speaker who will reflect on that, and it's a time where we can actually honor those. And so I think Money was getting ready to add a piece there.
Yeah, go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, what we're going to do to honor the memorial, to piggyback on what you were saying, Harold, we will ride down to the African American Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. And there we will lay a wreath and we will pay honor to the soldiers that have served and to those that are currently serving. So it is more than picnic, barbecue, fellowship, and all of that. We really celebrate on Memorial Day the history of the Buffalo Soldiers and the fellow men and women that are currently serving in the military, with the laying of a wreath, the playing of taps, and we have had generals to come to speak at our ceremony down at the memorial in Washington, D.C. And we have a chance to go in and visit the museum that's there, to see the artifact that's in that museum. So there's a lot more to that Memorial Day ride than the fellowship, the barbecue, the picnic, the cookout, I should say, that we are having. That memorial part of it, that ride part of it, is really the focus that we started with, that ride. Mm-hmm. And so we will ride there on Sunday to celebrate the fallen soldiers and give honor to those that are serving today.
If I could just
go ahead.
I was just going to chime in. Yeah, the African American Civil War Museum off of Vermont Avenue. That's so not confused with the African American Museum downtown DC. It's the one that has the names of the fallen that served during the Civil War, and we'll be in the shadow of the statue that's there as well. So,
yeah, thank you. I only have a few minutes left, but I did want to make sure that our listeners understood your nicknames or call signs, however you want to describe it. I'll start with you, Money. What does that mean? Where did your name come from? Where did that come from?
I knew that was going to happen. When I joined the Buffalo Soldiers, as Alan said, I joined pretty much before all of these guys here. So I'm a longtime vet of the soldiers. I had some skills that I brought to it, and one of the skills was to handle money. So after finding out that I could handle a budget and put up a budget and do what we needed to do and forecast, and I would come out to it was pretty much exact to what I would forecast. They started calling me money.
Okay.
Because I handled the money and I was
sense.
able to do that, and that stuck. So that's how the name Money came about, as the
Okay.
treasurer of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Alan, what is G-Man?
So my name actually came from my siblings. When I began my my federal service many moons ago in the government, two of my siblings just started calling me G-Man. Now my father used to call me old man because I guess I have some of those traits, but in any event, but the G-Man stuck, and every day I get a text, G-Man, how you doing? So it's been over 20 some years now. I've been being called G-Man. So
Okay.
sometimes I tell folk, okay, depending on what direction they're coming from, I say, for you, it's God, man. It's for God.
Okay. And Lonnie, what about you? Where does the signal come from?
So in my family, both on my dad's side, I've got multiple people that have served, mom's side as well, that have served in the military, grandparents. So in the military, in the Army especially, you have different branches. One of the branches is the Signal Corps, and so my father was a signal officer, and so I was a signal officer, and so I'm very proud to continue to wear the signal flags, even though I'm not directly in the service.
Okay. And what about you, Sam? Where did Simba come from?
Well, hey, Hurl, I will say it's really most directly tied to my zodiac. I am a Leo the lion. And instead of being Mufasa, who I guess has achieved that kingly level, I'm Simba. I'm destined for greatness, and I'm still on my way there.
Okay. Look, I'm here. I'm here for all of it. Guys, I am out of time, unfortunately, but I want to thank all of you, Mason, Lonnie, Alan, Sam, for all that you're doing. I learned a lot. Not just about the history, but where we are now and what you guys are doing in the community. Please keep up the good work. And let me just say, certainly value to the community at large, but certainly for the Black community and representing our community well is so very, very important. And so I commend you. Good luck this weekend. Be safe when you're riding. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Absolutely.
That is the Daily Drum for this Thursday, May 22nd. I'm Harold Fisher. Good night.